We gotta thicken our fucking stream. We gotta thicken the fuck out of that stream right now. Now this is what the music industry is all about.
Sergio's gone crazy.
I love this game! Shit is serious out here. The music business is failing. The bubble done popped. You are now in the power position. You hold all the power in your ass.
The truth about Diddy's real-life persona has been hiding in plain sight. Back in 2010, Sean Diddy Combs played a chaotic and eccentric music mogul, Sergio Roma, in the comedy Get Him to the Greek. At the time, it seemed like just another Hollywood exaggeration. But now, people are looking at it differently now. With recent allegations against Diddy making headlines, netizens are asking a chilling question. Was his performance more of a confession than a caricature? Some claim the character's antics and manipulative behavior were eerily close to real life.
Fuck off, Sergio.
Was Sergio Roma a reflection of Diddy's real-world actions, or was it all just a bizarre coincidence? Let's break it down. From Sergio's unhinged scenes to the uncomfortable parallels with current allegations, the clues may have been there all along. In Get Him to the Greek, Diddy's Sergio Roma is a larger-than-life music executive who thrives on chaos. He's manipulative, charismatic, and always a step ahead, orchestrating wild schemes to keep his clients in the spotlight. From throwing outrageous parties to pulling strings behind the scenes, Roma is the epitome of power unchecked. But it's not just his antics that stand out. Sergio is portrayed as someone who uses his influence to bend others to his will, often in ways that leave them compromised or humiliated. At the time, audiences laughed at the absurdity of it all, but now, as real-life allegations against Diddy surface, some are wondering, was the character more fact than fiction? As new allegations surface against Diddy, Get Him to the Greek has taken on an entirely different tone. Social media is abuzz, with fans questioning whether Sergio Roma's over-the-top antics were really just a clever caricature, or a mirror reflecting uncomfortable truths about the entertainment world. What was once seen as satire now feels eerily prescient. The parallels are impossible to ignore. Whether intentional or accidental, Get Him to the Greek now stands as an unsettling lens through which viewers are re-examining celebrity culture. What once felt like outrageous humor now raises serious questions. How much of this was fiction? And how much was a peek behind the curtain? In Get Him to the Greek, Sergio Roma's parties were more than gatherings. They were spectacles. Every detail, from the extravagant decor to the guest list, was designed to reinforce his dominance. These weren't just social events, they were power plays. Similarly, Diddy's famed parties have often been described as grandiose, where attendees felt more like players in a carefully choreographed performance than guests. A former attendee once shared, "It felt like he was pulling all the strings, and we were just part of the show." Sergio thrived on using people's ambitions against them. In the movie, struggling artists found themselves manipulated with vague promises of fame. They were willing to endure anything just to remain in his orbit. Allegations against Diddy draw eerie parallels to this. Aspiring talents and employees have claimed that their dreams were exploited, with offers of mentorship or career opportunities masking deeper, more coercive motives. The line between genuine help and calculated manipulation became almost impossible to see. Sergio wasn't just manipulative, he was intimidating. Through charm laced with veiled threats, he maintained an environment of fear. One character in the movie highlights this perfectly. They follow Sergio not out of loyalty, but because they fear the consequences of defiance. This dynamic finds its real-world counterpart in allegations against Diddy, where former employees have described a culture of fear. There was always this unspoken rule: you don't cross him or you'd pay for it, shared a former collaborator. Sergio's antics often appeared chaotic, but there was always a method to the madness. Every outburst, every outrageous stunt served a purpose, usually to disarm or control those around him. Former associates of Diddy have described a similar strategy. One staff member alleged, "Even the wildest moments felt like they were scripted. It wasn't chaos, it was control disguised as chaos." This deliberate unpredictability kept people off balance and easier to manipulate. The boundaries between business and pleasure were non-existent for Sergio. Professional relationships often became deeply personal, creating an imbalance of power that left others vulnerable. This blurring of lines is a recurring theme in the allegations against Diddy. Former employees and acquaintances have spoken about how professional interactions would suddenly veer into uncomfortable personal territory, leaving them unsure of how to respond. Both Sergio and Diddy cultivated an image of invincibility. Sergio's charm and status made him untouchable in the eyes of those around him. him, while Diddy's larger-than-life persona has been described as a shield against accountability. One employee remarked, "His presence was overpowering. You didn't just work with him, you worked under his shadow." In both cases, their cultivated personas created environments where questioning their actions felt impossible. The parallels between Sergio Roma and the allegations against Diddy go far beyond coincidence. The unsettling question remains, was the character an unintentional reflection of real life, or was the truth hidden in plain sight all along? Why are these connections and accusations surfacing now? It's not uncommon for stories like these to remain buried for years, only emerging when the cultural climate shifts enough to allow victims and insiders to feel safe speaking out. The #MeToo movement has fundamentally changed the conversation, creating a space where once silenced voices are finally being heard. But there's more to it. Re-examining cultural artifacts like "Get Him to the Greek" through the lens of recent allegations reveals how public personas can create a facade that shields deeper truths. Sergio Roma, for all his absurdity, might have been a reflection of behaviors normalized by the unchecked power of celebrity. This isn't the first time Hollywood has blurred the line between art and reality. Take Kevin Spacey's chillingly manipulative roles, which seemed all too similar to the accusations that later emerged against him. Could Diddy's turn as Sergio Roma fit into this same category? The timing also raises questions. Could it be that the spotlight of past accusations, alongside current lawsuits, has pushed more people to come forward, or did the character itself, exaggerated as it was, embolden people to see the truth beneath the glamour? The deeper we dive, the more it seems like Get Him to the Greek was more than just a comedy. It may have been a mirror, one that reflected truths no one was ready to face until now. There's a reason characters like Sergio Roma feel so magnetic, yet deeply unsettling. They tap into a universal truth about power. It intoxicates, corrupts, and often blinds those who wield it. For Diddy, both his real-life persona and his on-screen counterpart embody this. Sergio Roma's character isn't just outrageous for comedic effect. He's calculated, manipulative, and unapologetic. These traits align disturbingly well with the allegations surfacing against Diddy. Psychologists argue that power, when unchecked, often leads to entitlement. The belief that one's status grants them immunity from consequences is a hallmark of many public scandals. Sergio thrived on this belief. Does the same apply to Diddy? In one scene, Sergio delivers a line that feels like a chilling prelude to the accusations. "When you're in control, no one can stop you." At the time, it seemed like a punchline. Today, it feels like a mantra. Former staff members have spoken out about the meticulous planning behind Diddy's public persona. Philip Pines, a former assistant, stated, "He always knew how to craft his image, even if the reality was different." The Sergio Roma character, whether intentionally or not, may have been part of this image, an exaggerated version of the power Diddy wielded in real life. This raises an important question. How often does celebrity culture blur the line between performance and reality? When someone like Diddy portrays a character so close to their alleged real-life behavior, it becomes harder to separate truth from fiction. Was it a subtle way of acknowledging behaviors he didn't think would ever come to light? Or was it a coincidence that now feels too obvious to ignore? The psychology of power is a story as old as time. But when it's projected onto a larger-than-life figure like Diddy, it becomes harder to dismiss, especially when the cracks in the facade begin to show. It's not just about a movie or a man, it's about the way we collectively consume and interpret the world of celebrity. Get Him to the Greek wasn't intended to be a cautionary tale, yet it has become one. The character of Sergio Roma, once dismissed as comedic exaggeration, now serves as a mirror reflecting Hollywood's darker truths. His chaotic charisma, manipulative tendencies, and unchecked power are traits that resonate far beyond the screen. Why is it that we often ignore the red flags? Celebrity culture thrives on the idea of larger-than-life personas. We're quick to celebrate the charm and charisma while turning a blind eye to the cracks beneath the surface. The glamour, fame, the spectacle, it all acts as a shield, making it easier to laugh off questionable behavior as part of the act. Sergio Roma was presented as satire, but recent allegations against Diddy show how dangerously close that satire is to reality. This raises a profound cultural question. How often does fiction foreshadow real life? Hollywood has a history of romanticizing flawed, morally ambiguous characters. Think of the Wolf of Wall Street's Jordan Belfort, or Mad Men's Don Draper. They're celebrated for their audacity and genius, while their toxicity is brushed aside. In the case of Sergio Roma, however, hindsight has turned those laughs into chills. Was the character merely a parody, or was it pulling from truths we weren't ready to face? The allure of fame often comes at a cost, and it's not just the individuals involved who pay the price. As audiences, we play a role in enabling this culture. By idolizing celebrities and consuming their curated personas without question, we contribute to to a system where accountability takes a backseat to entertainment. Public scandals force us to confront what we've ignored for too long. But why does it take an uproar to look critically at art that's been in plain sight all along? The implications go beyond Get Him to the Greek. This isn't just a movie we revisit with a new lens. It's a cultural reckoning. Power and influence often shield individuals from scrutiny, allowing harmful behaviors to persist unchecked. As more voices come forward and demand accountability, the lines between fiction and reality blur even further. Sergio Roma was a fictional character, but the traits he embodied, manipulation, control, and excess, are far too real in Hollywood and beyond. It's wild to think that a character we laughed at could be a mirror to something so serious. Get Him to the Greek was supposed to be a comedy, right? But now it feels like it might have been showing us something we didn't want to see. The connections between Sergio Roma and the allegations against Diddy aren't easy to ignore, and they raise some tough questions about power, influence, and the culture around celebrity. We, as fans and audiences, play a role in this. By paying attention, calling things out, and not letting red flags slide, we can push for change. It's not just about one movie or one person, it's about holding people accountable, no matter how big their name is. So, what do you think? Was the movie just a coincidence, or was it hinting at something bigger? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if this got you thinking, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. There's so much more to unpack. Catch you in the next one.